Hello everybody, my name's Jono and I'm going to do an acting workshop with you this morning. My background is in theatre, mainly in straight theatre, so plays where there's not so much music, not really musicals, but you see the Shakespeares and the more contemporary pieces as well. I've worked from plays that have been written in the 10th century all the way through to plays that have been written this year. So I'm really excited to be able to share some of that with you. And what we're going to look at today is we're going to look at some speeches and how to break down a speech and prepare your speech before you deliver it to either an audition or just a monologue for one of your exams. So it's really important that you understand what's going on and how the character feels. And building a character within a monologue, it's really easy to just deliver a speech and be like, oh, well, there you go, that's it. That's kind of, I know this bit of the speech, but we've got to build a bigger world that surrounds the speech before we can actually deliver it. But first, let's do a little bit of warming up, because it's always important when we're going to do some acting that we're going to warm ourselves up. So, but the first thing to do, everyone can just shake it all out, shake out their legs, shake out their arms, yeah, and then give a really good, really lovely shoulder roll backwards, always backwards, and that gets all of the acids in the shoulders moving, which is linked to your vocal cords. So you just keep those going back like that and get a nice dip in there and hit the legs too. Give that lovely shake out, do that as much as you want. Let's shake out our hands again and really try and get all this blood moving throughout the body. Give yourself a real pat down. And lovely. Brush all that bad energy away. Lovely. And then we're going to do the same with our face. So we're going to give our faces a nice big rub. There we go. This is my favourite bit of acting because it feels the nicest. So, yeah, really get in there now. They hold a lot of tension here. So really get into those bits there. Because it's really important that you deliver your speeches clearly. So to deliver them clearly, we need to make sure that we're nice and relaxed in our facial muscles. So you're going to get right in there. That's it. And right up just above the jaw there. You can feel your jaw, it's here. It's the pokey out bone bit. There we go. And then you're going to go in there and you're going to pinch your eyebrows out. This is my personal favourite bit. I personally hold a lot of tension in my eyebrows. There we go. So we're just going to pinch those out. Brilliant. So give yourself a lovely shake in the face and make a funny noise. One of these. Really relax your jaw. And then you should get a very funny noise. Brilliant. And a big yawn. Brilliant. And can you make the faces as small as physically possible? So, and then as big as possible. And as small. And as big. Brilliant. So the next thing we need to do is make sure we're planted. Now, if you don't know what I mean by this, when we're on stage, we need to make sure we're not moving around, because that's not, especially on camera and what we're doing at the moment, this sort of like pacing around is no good. It's too much movement. And when you're watching someone deliver a speech on stage, you really want them to be as still as possible. So you might have noticed at the beginning of this video, I probably wasn't very planted, because I hadn't done any warming up, because I was saving that to do with you. So what we're going to do is stand up, feet shoulder width apart, and whatever position outwards suits you the best. Feel nice and relaxed. Just bend through the knee. And then I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to imagine that there's a little hole in the bottom of your feet. And in the bottom of your feet, there's a little knot. And that's poked through the hole. And then there's some people pulling down on those strings that are attached to the knot. So you're feeling the whole weight of your body, not just go to your feet, but through your feet, through the floorboards and into there. So you can feel, you should start feeling in your feet now, everything feels a bit heavier. You're holding a lot more of your body in your feet. And this, if you focus on this for a minute, it's going to really help you be planted and not pace around. So imagine that, you're glued to the floor. So let's just take 30, 40 seconds there to think about that, closing our eyes and thinking about our feet sinking into the floor. Who's pulling on it? How big are they? How heavy are they? How planted are you going to be? Wonderful. There we go. I've got dinosaur socks on. What socks have you got on? Brilliant. Fab. Okay, so now we're there. Pick those back up and put them down. Imagine you're walking like a duck walks. So every time you put your foot down, you're planting it again. And that should give you nice planting. You should feel now that actually you're a lot heavier in your feet. There you go. I certainly do feel like I'm a lot heavier at my feet. Wonderful. Next thing we need to do, as you can hear, my voice is very tired. It's very tired. I've been teaching all week, so my voice is very tired anyway. But that's no good for a monologue because we want to be delivering it nice and clearly. So we're just going to lightly give a little trill in our lips. So can you go from one side to the other? And then with your tongue on your lips. Can you make that noise? So if you do, you want to place your tongue just below your teeth there, and this noise going up and down, that helps you warm up your throat as well, and your larynx and your vocal cords and everything. So you really want to focus on getting that nice. And if you've got a higher register, so girls, some of you will have a higher register, boys, some of you will have a lower register. So really warm up those registers. So for me personally, I should be down here, but girls, you'll be up here. Think about the range that you're going to be speaking in. Okay, so if you're good at that, if you can do that there, can you do it on your teeth? I can. You can do it on your teeth. Can you do it on your lips? If you can do that, that's very good. Try and drag your lips up as high as you can as you do it. If you can do all three of those, so if you can go back and forward between the three in one swift movement. So, wonderful. Okay, now we're going to try glossal roll. So glossal roll is on your soft palate, which is the bit right in the back of your mouth there. If you put your tongue against it, you should feel that it's the soft, dangly bit right at the back of your throat. So I want you to put the back of your tongue against that, press that against that. There you go. And I want you to try and do a roll. You'll sound a bit like Chewbacca from Star Wars. So, very good. I promise this class won't just be a range of noises, but we're there now. Brilliant. So I want you to repeat after me. We're going to warm up our mouths and tongues now. So we're going to do some noises. So I want you to repeat after me. Can you say, buttiga, 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 buttiga? Brilliant. So we're going to go, buttiga, 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 buttiga. Then we're going to change it to goodaba, 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 goodaba. Now we're going to mix them. So we're going to go buttiga goodaba, 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 buttiga goodaba. Fab. Now let's switch it up a little bit and do some patika kutapa. All this is doing is taking the noises that go from the back of your mouth to the front of your mouth and the middle of your mouth. So you're just putting them in an order which warms up your mouth. So we're going to go patika, 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 kutapa, 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 kutapa. Kutapa, 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 kutapa. Patika, kutapa, patika, kutapa. Patika, kutapa, patika, kutapa. Great. And can you merge all those together and do patika, kutapa, 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 patika, kutapa. Now you should practice this. I like to do this every morning in the shower, which my housemates think I'm very strange for, but I enjoy it. So you've got to go, can you merge them all together and how fast can we get? I messed it up a little bit, but we're all good. Right, fab. So we should feel all warmed up now. So we're going to move on to a monologue. So we're going to look at Alice in Wonderland when she first falls down the hole and she arrives in Wonderland. We're going to look at some of the speeches that she does in one of those plays there. So the first thing we need to think about is where she is, how she feels. Because there's no point in just going into a monologue and saying the words. So we want to think about how she feels, where she is. Is she hot? Is she cold? Let's build a map and a world of our character. So let's think, how old is Alice? These are your decisions to make. So you've got to figure out how old Alice is, where she is. She's just woken up, she's looking around. How does she feel about where she is? Does she know where she is? Does she recognise it? Is it new to her? Yeah, so we've got those 2 points, and then we want to look at, is she hot? Is she cold? Did she hit herself on the way down? Is she brushing herself off? Does she feel confused? Did she hit her head? Is she tired? Did she get a good night's sleep last night? Is she annoyed at any friends? There's a whole world you can build here, and you should be able to answer any of these questions. And think about how you feel at the moment and how that can relate, because it's really important to relate things that you know on stage, because that's an emotion that you can relate to perfectly. So let's build an entire character for Alice very quickly. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to look at all of your, to get a piece of paper and build your character for Alice, telling us how she is. Brilliant. And go. You've got 1 minute. Go. Quick. Why are you still here? Go get a pen and paper. Quick. Brilliant. Have you done that? Fab. Shout out these screens. How's Alice feeling? Is she hot? Is she cold? Have you got that? Have you thought about if she's got a bit of a headache? How are her feet feeling? Is she tired as she's walking along on her feet? Have you got all of that? Have you built yourself a character? And do you feel comfortable? If not, pause the video and just take another couple of minutes to have a look at that. If you have got it, let's move on to the speech. So I'm going to go to another screen now, and we're going to just have a minute. I'm going to give you a minute to read the speech that I've picked. If you read it really quickly and there's still more time, feel free to skip to the end of that by just going along on the video. And if I go on too quickly, just go back and pause it so you can have a look. So I'm going to give you 9 seconds or so just to have a look at the speech, and then we'll come back. Fab. So you've looked at speech. It's a good one, isn't it? Fab. So we're going to now look at breaking down this speech, because a monologue is just people saying words. You know that, I know that. So we want to have a look, because every time you are saying a long speech or you're talking to someone, you're having constant new thoughts, but your brain works so quickly and you're so used to doing it that you don't think about these thoughts. But we need to see a new thought every time Alice has a new thought. So we're going to have a look at that. And what I want you to do is I want you to go through the speech now. I'm going to do it on the screen, and I'm going to screen record what I'm doing so you can have a look at how to do it on this one. And then later we're going to have a look at another one and you can break it down yourself. So I want you to go through the speech, and I want you to put a line every time there's a completely new thought. So every time she has a completely new thought on what she's doing, a big line. Every time it's a semi-new thought, a smaller line. Okay, so we'll have a look at it. I'll do it on the screen so you can have a look, and you should just be able to put a big line every time there's a complete thought change. Now, these might look like they're falling on the sentences and the punctuation. A lot of the time the punctuation is a guide for this, but it's not always the case. So don't just go through quickly. Think about it. Think about every time Alice has a new thought, and every time Alice does have a new thought, you just take it to the side of your paper and just write on your piece of paper what's the new thought is. Okay, so this thought means this. This is kind of what she's saying. And I don't want you to just write the pages on the screen. I want you to just write down what the new thought is. Okay, does that make sense? So what her thought change is, why she's thinking that, how she's feeling. Is she confused? Yeah? Great. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to just have a look at that. You'll see me doing it on the screen with you this time. Did you do it? Have you finished? Brilliant. So, what I want you to do now is have a go at doing the speech. Have a couple of practices. Obviously, this is quite a hard speech to do because it is Alice falling down into Wonderland. So, I want you to not think about too much of the movement, but really get the words across. Have a couple goes at doing it and really focus on those new thoughts you've had as you get through the speech, okay? So really focus on taking a break and taking a thought and switching. Think of your brain like a computer and put a switch. Make their cog turn every time you have a new thought. And I want you to have a go at a couple of practices at getting this yourself, and then I want you to record yourself doing it and send that over to Artemis. I think it will be Rosie, but if it's not, then they'll put a thing on the screen now of where to send it to, and record yourself doing it and send that over to Rosie as a good practice for how to do a monologue. And once you've done that, click play again. I'm going to leave a little black screen, and then you're going to click play again, and we're going to look at another speech. Have you done it? Have you recorded it and sent it over? Don't worry if you haven't sent it yet, but if you recorded it, that's great. So we're going to move on. We're going to look at another speech. So the speech we're going to look at now is Bottom's speech from Midsummer Night's Dream, which, yes, is Shakespeare. And I can hear you from here. Oh, no, not Shakespeare. Rubbish. Boo. Boring. And fear is raising in you. I can feel you freaking out right now that you're doing Shakespeare. If you're not, then well done. If you're worried about doing Shakespeare and you hate it, then I'll let you on a little secret. It's really easy. Yeah. The reason that people think it's really hard is because it's different to the language we speak now. But the language we speak now comes from the language they spoke in Shakespeare's day. Another secret, Shakespeare made up loads of words. A large amount of words in the dictionary, Shakespeare made up. So don't worry about that. If you don't understand a word, here's another secret. You can just Google it. Easy. Fab. So we're going to do Bottom's speech from Midsummer Night's Dream. I want you to do the same thing. I want you to build your character again, but I'll give you a little bit of knowledge because I think all of you will have known Alice in Wonderland. I'd be surprised if you didn't, but Bottom from Midsummer Night's Dream you might not know. So Bottom is one of the mechanicals. So he's just like a normal person. He's like a builder, and he is rehearsing a play with his friends, and they go to the woods to rehearse it secretly. And while he's there, a fairy, a magical fairy, turns him into a donkey. So then he's walking around as a donkey, and then the fairy that made him a donkey also puts a spell upon the fairy queen and makes her fall in love with the donkey, all as a bit of a practical joke for her master, Oberon, who's the king of the fairies. And so they have this love affair, and then eventually Puck the fairy turns Bottom back into a person, and he's asleep, and this is when he wakes up. So he hasn't known what's going on. The last thing he remembered, he was rehearsing a play, and then he can remember all this donkey business, but he thinks it was all a dream. And this is him waking up, looking for his friends, and then talking to the audience and telling them about the dream he's had. Fab. So I've got it on my phone here because I thought I had the script here, and I don't. So I'm just going to perform it for you very quickly. Don't judge my performance too much because I haven't practiced it at all. So this is Bottom, just so you can get a quick heads up of how the words are said and the timing of it. But I'm purposely not going to focus too much on the thoughts because I want you to get that, and I don't want to give you too many clues. Fab. So he says, when my cue comes, call me and I'll answer. My next is most fair Pyramus. Hi-ho. Peter Quince, Flute the Bellows Mendar, Snap the Tinker, Starveling. God's my life, stolen hence and left me asleep. I've had a most rare vision. I've had a dream. Past the wit of man to say what my dream was. Man is but an ass if he go about to expound this dream. Methought I was, there is no man that can tell what. Methought I was, and methought I had, but man is but a patched fool if he will offer to say what methought I had. The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen, man's hand is not able to taste, his heart to report, nor his tongue to conceive what my dream was. I will get Peter Quince to write a ballad of this dream, and it shall be called A Bottom's Dream, because it hath no bottom. And I will sing it at the latter end of the play before the Duke, peradventure. To make it the more gracious, I'll sing it at her death. Brilliant. So I did get a couple of the sentences round the wrong way there because I'll let you in a secret. I haven't got my glasses on and I can't really read it. But that's the general idea of how it is. It's a really, really fun monologue and it's very, very famous. So if you do have to do a Shakespeare speech at any point, this is a really nice, easy, fun one to do. I want you to go away again now, and I want you to, I'm going to put the speech on the screen. You can, if you just type the first words of it into Google, and bottom, which is the character's name, then you should be able to find it, and you can copy paste it into a Word document, maybe print it or do it on your screens. I'm not going to do it with you this time, but I want you to split up all the thoughts. The other thing I want you to do, because it's Shakespeare, I want you to try and work out what it all means. So I want you to write another thing next to it and try and translate it yourselves. If you get a bit stuck, you can go on No Fear Shakespeare, it's online, and it will tell you the direct translation, but try and do it yourself first. But if you can't do that, go onto the SparkNotes website and then go on No Fear Shakespeare, and you'll be able to find a direct translation of it, which will be really easy. I'll let you in on one more secret. The professional actors use the SparkNotes No Fear Shakespeare's, so don't worry about using it. It doesn't make you silly or stupid. It's just what everyone does, because you're trying to translate from an ancient language. Brilliant. So I want you to go away and do that. And again, once you've done that, I want you to have a go at doing the monologue yourself. So I want you to record yourself doing it. You've built your character, you've built your world, and then you've broken down the text into your thoughts and you've translated it. So this should give you a good solid amount of time. Give yourself a good solid amount of time to do this. So give yourself an hour or so and rework on it and try and make it as funny as you can. There's a lot of funny lines in there. So try and work out what they mean and make it your own. The great thing about the Shakespeare characters is that they're never the same. Everyone does them completely differently. So make it your own and then video yourself doing that. And again, pop it over to Artemis so they can have a look at the monologues you've done. It's been a real pleasure doing this session over the camera. I can't see you, but I'm sure you're the loveliest people in the world. I've heard a lot of lovely things about you. And hopefully one day I will get to meet you. And I'll ask Rosie if I can watch some of these as well, because I think I'd really like to see them. Brilliant. Bye-bye.